Hello, Narnach here. Welcome back to Path of Exile. We're playing in the Abyss League as a hardcore Templar that uses cremation and Volatile Dead to murder enemies. Still playing solo self-found, even though I'm not in the solo self-found league. At some point, probably in a not too distant future, I'll consider doing some trades to just upgrade my gear a little bit, but I must say I had that planned, but so far the gear acquisition process has been going pretty well. It helps that I'm not rushing through things, but still taking my time. And no, just taking the time in between episodes to just do some gear upgrades and things like that. And especially because most of the new skills, I'm on a little bit of a journey of a discovery to figure out how they work, how they scale, and whether I even like using them and how I could best use them. Aha. DB did. So last episode I did a little bit of performance testing with the new skills and concluded that Volatile Dead, it is a little bit intensive. I did find another way to improve the performance of my setup and most importantly of my recording setup a little bit. By basically dropping the SLI setup I've got and just using both of my video cards separately. That reduced the stress on my system a little bit. So the frame rate should remain a little more consistent now than in the previous couple of episodes. Hello there, Mr. Nightwing. I'm assuming you're a mister. Not quite sure actually what a Nightwing would be. Except for dead. Very, very dead. Which is the best thing for an enemy to be, really. Okay, book down there suggests Vol is there. And oh, jolly good times, there's an Abyss in there as well. Let's see about not really tripping the Abyss until we've done the boss fight. Okay. So let's just put a Decoy Totem there. Corpses, cremate. Okay, one cremate on any of your feet, and then some Volatile Dead. And that you are. That went fast enough. So we didn't trigger that, so that's a good thing. So another skill point. So just keep going with what we got. This no further overcaps the resistances we have right now. 13 overcapped on the lowest, which is fire, which means that this one effectively does nothing anymore, and this one is only contributing the life regeneration. And I think it's probably best to have a look at just removing this one at some point and replacing it with something that either adds life or more spell damage or no fire damage or something useful for the build. One of the upsides of dropping loads and loads of jewels via the Abyss. Let's maybe get some corpses down here. Yes, like that. Is of course that we do have many more jewels to pick from than normal. I think so far I found one whole jewel.
Of immense power.
And I'm kind of drowning in Abyss jewels, which is good. Oh, I do like choice, and the Abyss jewels, they definitely do some things that the normal jewels don't do. Most notably just having a higher power level. Ooh, that's a little busy. I don't think I like that very much. Let's just sidestep this a bit. Decoy Totem definitely does decoy things. And another treasure trove joins my collection. So is there anything in here that is going to be compelling to use? Strength and int, chance to block spells if you were damaged. I've seen quite a number of things that add spell damage when you're dual wielding or wielding a two-hander, but not a lot in combination with a shield, which is the one that I really want. I guess that's why it's not dropping for me. Minions regenerate life per second. Now that's actually a nice one, especially early on, because normally you do need to traverse the skill tree quite a bit to get it as a minion monster. So that is a nice one. So that's it. We picked up the Desecrate's banner, so that is good enough for this area. Plan for the day is to simply clear the area we just cleared, and after that go through the entirety of the mines. And ta-da! Now we can talk to Ozun, and I think that is gonna get us a golem, which is useful. Yala, Ozun, yes. So Abyssal Cry, and then one of the golems. And for this one I figured we'll pick up a Flame Golem, since it grants increased damage, and well, increased damage is something that is very difficult to argue with. So for now we'll just put the golem over there, and then we can cast it once outside. Yeah, let's go through the door instead of the wall, slightly easier. Ta-da! Yeah, that's good. So in between episodes I did shuffle once again a bit more with the gear. I bought a white 4-linked full chainmail, for example, and threw an Alk in there just to make it rare. It's not a great one, but at least it is rare. So we now have Cremation with concentrated effect and chance to ignite and fire penetration. So this is for getting fire penetration in here. So the listed damage is now lower than it was before. Before it was 430, I think, because it was a 3-link in the offhand with +1. But the fire penetration does allow us to deal more damage, especially against enemies that have high fire resistance. It's much more efficient there. And especially against bosses that have, or hexproof enemies, it's gonna vastly outshine the old one. Yeah, though even a single cremate is pretty good for clearing packs, if you have the patience to wait for it to do its thing. Or send some Volatile Dead after the enemies. Okay. So once we complete Act 4, or once we defeat Calm and Duresso, that's the true benchmark here. Once we've done that, we will get access to the final tier of support gems. So then we can get Spell Echo, then we can get greater multiple projectiles. We also get no cast when damage taken, and the Immortal Call. So a cast when damage taken setup is gonna be part of the deal then. Hello there, Pike Rivets. It's good to curse you. And then blow you up. Hey, a Ruby Flask. The special flasks slowly start dropping now. And of course, higher tiers of flasks also start to appear. Oh, hello there, Abyss. Okay, more corpses. A couple of these. Trigger this. And it backtracks. That is actually convenient, since we're not going to wake up new packs. It's no, it is one of those things that, depending on how you view it, the Abyss is either backtracking or moving forward is something that you either want to have happen or that you hate to have happen. In my case now, if the Abyss backtracks into an area I just cleared, no, it's not good for the mythical clear speed and all that stuff. But it is great for a sense of security, and in my case also convenience, because there are going to be corpses in the place. Oh, hello there. Let's curse you a little bit. But I do like the added safety / convenience of just going back into a place I've already been. So you don't get new packs on top of the packs that spawn from the Abyss. But I can definitely see if you're, especially if you're playing on standard rather than on hardcore, then nope, clear speed is king. It is path of clear speed for most people anyway. So from that perspective, it makes sense to hope for them actually rolling forward, so you can just clear up the spawns from the abysses together with the normal spawns. Let's just quickly empty pockets. Especially this early on in a league, it is still very useful to just get most of the items. Let's see. Don't really do sword attacks. Lightning damage added to sword attacks. Increased damage by 200 weapons. Cold and lightning. Increased evasion while moving. That's a whole lot of nothing. That's okay. Oh, hello there, Mr. Orange. Berserker you are. Well, I'll berserk you. I'll berserk you to death. So for the first area of the mines, usually not all that exciting. Well, you got Pike Rivet as your regularly scheduled unique encounter. And after that, it's just a matter of making your way to the second level where a lot of magic happens. That is the place where we have the Desecrate quest guarded by Hammerstorm. And after that, we continue. Oh, and of course, you got Void Scream. That's also part of the second area. But after that, it's just a matter of going to the crystal coves, crystal veins. Let's see, area level 35. It is slowly ramping up. I'm 38 myself, no, slightly ahead of the curve. Which, no, for a more cautious player and slower player like me is pretty normal. I usually am 2 to 3 levels ahead. Sometimes I catch up and then usually I just get ahead again, especially if I do end up farming some areas a couple times. Now that gets you 1 or 2 levels, and it does help because your power level is going to be slightly better then. Okay, let's just put down our decoy. Let's just refresh the corpses, a couple of cremates. And after that, just some orbs, curse the thing, and then kaboom. It's almost unfair the way you can prepare and do a lot of damage with this build. Oh, I saw Innervate, and that reminded me that we also should get access to Immolate soonish. Because I think Immolate is effectively the fire counterpart to Innervate. They even sound the same. Okay, let's just use the orbs to just kill whatever is near. I don't really know or care. They will just die. That's alright. So that is the threat, and then the journey to the next area begins. Ooh, Crusader helmet. 3 sockets plus 1. I might as well bring it along. Right now I'm using a Barbued helmet. No, it is armor based. One of the items is gonna be cast when damage taken setup. So if that is a pure armor one, that's okay, because it's mostly gonna be red gems anyway. Putting it on a pure armor one means we just get more armor, which is gonna be alright. It's a nice form of damage mitigation. Now for our defenses right now, we have a first layer of defenses in simply in blocking. Now, if we block something, then we don't take damage. I believe we might still have a small sliver of evasion remaining, so that's 19% actually. So no, there's a little bit of defense in there as well. After that, if we do take damage, elemental damages are simply capped. For physical, we got armor. We have this lovely little skill called Arctic Armor. That, if we're standing still, reduces physical and fire damage taken. And given the fact that there is quite some setup and casting involved in this build, chances are I will be standing still most of the time, especially while taking damage. So that means for most of the time I will be protected by it. So no armor, and that one keep us safe. After that, if you take damage, we have a small layer of energy shield. It's just meant to catch 1 or 2 blows. It's not really all that major. After that, on the one hand, we got health, but we also have mind over matter. So all unreserved mana also helps us prevent some damage. And right now we don't have it, but once we've done the labyrinth once, then we're more or less permanently going to be standing inside of Consecrated Ground. That's going to be one of the things that the Inquisitor is going to provide us with. And that means effectively a 6% life regeneration that's more or less permanently active. Hello there, tentacle thing. And once we do the labyrinth the second time, we're also gonna get access to the upgraded version that's also gonna regenerate energy shield and mana at 6%. So that is nice. Also, while standing in Consecrated Ground, that's gonna be the first upgrade. We'll also get 40% increased damage, just like you would get from a silver flask. Which, it's already one of my favorite kinds of flasks. But getting it built in is just very, very nice. Let's just identify a bit of fire res, bit of energy shield, bit of armor, bit of strength. There's trade-offs to be made, especially now that my resistances are in a pretty decent space. Swapping some of these Stygian Vices out for another to swap my resists around. There is an opportunity there for just optimizing. Essence as a bow, that's always nice. Let's see, everybody's happy, of course, about saving the Shred's Spirit. Might as well have a chat with Tasuni and get the Book of Skill. Wonderful. So that's yet another sub goal completed. Somewhere in between episodes I did a refund this point because I spent it thinking I was going to go towards the damage here, but realizing that damage at this point is not really an issue. And there's no real defenses here, and the Faith and Steel, it is nice, but it is a bonus to armor and energy shield. Sure, we're at 40% damage mitigation from armor, so getting more armor, not a bad deal. But I'm considering this more to be an upgrade and just a journey on the path to purity of flesh. But right now, heading south is going to be a better deal. So the next goal is going to be Tireless. It's life, and it's a reduction in mana cost, which means more mana efficiency and more mana for mind over matter when we need it. Oi, stop throwing stuff at me. Here, I'll throw some orbs at you. And then you become orbs to kick it forward, so to say. Rather wonderful. Yeah, we just followed the line. Let's just double check that nothing useful dropped here. That is the only downside you could say for the whole Abyss mechanic. If you're following along eagerly, you will end up losing some drops behind you. One additional rare item, so it doesn't mean there's no corpse explosions, so we can just trigger it. Cremate should kill most. Orbs are gonna kill the rest. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So next up, crystal veins. So our final destination down here is going to be the waypoint. On the way we do have the Burning Man. yeah, nothing useful dropped. And there's probably gonna be an abyss or two. But so far, I must say the leveling process has been rather uneventful. The new corpse skills, they definitely have power to them. At least this early. Of course, it's still something to wait for to see just how it's gonna be in maps. But I've heard good things from viewers. So I expect that once we make a maps that the damage is gonna be at least competitive with other skills. And I've never really played the more powerful things. Always end up with the more niche skills in the more niche configurations. So if a skill sounds like it's competitive, that means it's probably going to be more than powerful enough for what I'm used to. Let's not trigger that one. Let's actually go for the essence first. Okay, then some more volatiles, and thank you for that. New corpses, decoy. Go, and of course it runs back. Wonderful. We will just summon some orbs from behind here. They will carry it forward, and then we can just put a couple of cremates down here just to defend the area, and then launch some more. You can play to a certain degree a bit of a conquer the area thing by just using the cremates to mark areas that you more or less own, and then use the volatile orbs to just expand out from the controlled areas. That's bleeding that's been inflicted on me. And in the comments we've had a discussion over the targeting behavior of our favorite skill, the Volatile Dead, and it has been a little, let's call it erratic at times, or unpredictable, or outright odd, or going off screen when there's enemies on screen, things like that. I would say in what I've seen and noticed so far, the behavior hasn't been too strange. But no, I do tend to play rather slow and thorough, so no, most of the time there are not a lot of enemies to choose from, so it could be now that the targeting behavior just hasn't had the opportunity to be too erratic just yet. But no, that is something, especially once we get towards the end of the game, where there's going to be more enemies, and especially with the maps now, all modifiers giving increased pack size, it simply means that the monster density on maps, especially rare maps, is going to be higher than what we had before, and it's going to be just more dangerous that way. But it also means there's going to be more targets to choose from. Oh, hello there, gem cutter. 7 additional items from a gem box. I don't think I can find anything here to disagree with. Let's just like that. Ta-da. Trick completed. We got a bunch of gems. Just some standard level 1 gems, but still it's gems. And then we trigger the abyss. And we're going into unexplored territory. Ooh, you are cloaked, but you are dead as well. Holy chainmail. I think that might be a next tier of chainmail. And we're kind of just barging into Malachi's laboratory here. Oh, and there, yeah. Oh. Well, there's multiple yellows here. I don't think I like you guys. So I'm just taking a small step backwards. and keep unleashing the pain on the enemy. Holy chainmail, holy chainmail. You know what? It's a good time to stop picking up the very large items and go for the slightly less large items. And then there's the waypoint, there's Lady Diala. And we have reached our destination. So, in between episodes, I'll probably end up just running the Dried Lake a couple more times to see if I could find some more upgrades for our gear. Because right now we have a barbute helmet. This one, it has decent life and dual resists, which is something that caught my attention. It's not linked, but it is all red sockets, which kind of does fit with the cosmic damage taken setup I eventually want to go for. Full chainmail mods are not that great, but at least it is a 4-link. First one I've managed to obtain in decent colors. But no, the boots, there is room for improvement here. These gloves, I've been using them since Act 1, I think. They are really old. But no, a 3-link in decent colors that are useful for the setup means it gets carried along. And also, no, I've had this one for the +1 to fire gems, but now that I've got a 4-link, I just want to use the 4-link instead of this one, even though maybe from a damage perspective it might be better to stick with this one for just a little while longer. The scepter here is actually an upgrade. No, there's elemental damage in here, and the flat fire damage added to spells is high enough that it compensates for the fact that there's no bonus to spell or fire damage on here by itself. But the flat damage is just good enough because Cremation actually does not benefit too much from added damage. It's only at 80% of the effectiveness. But for Volatile Dead, where did I leave it? Here. There, 120%. So now the flat added damage, 120%, including all the bonuses to the damage. It scales. This one currently has Elemental Focus and Calling Strike, so it just goes for big hits and no ailments of any kind. I've been experimenting with different things. So for Volatile Dead, going for the big hits and Calling Strike, it fit with the colors. Not necessarily the most ideal in terms of damage, but no, especially during the leveling process. Just trying out different things, even if they are not the most optimal, it does give you a decent sense of what works and what does not. And now for the Cremation, the chance to ignite definitely is useful. 38% chance to ignite on top of 5% chance to crit. It helps. Because, yeah, see, crit is still at the base 5%. And somewhere I managed to pick up 12% crit multiplier for some reason. Probably from a jewel or something. Or an amulet. Like that. But with that, I'm gonna thank you very much for watching. And I hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.